thank you for coming. It means an extraordinary amount to us, as I'll say as I go through this speech, to have so many people from this incredible industry that we're a part of here today to celebrate this milestone with us. I think that, as you'll see, as Sipho said, that we are celebrating 35 years, but we strongly believe that this is not even halfway through our journey, and that it really is time for us to launch. You know, when I was a child, my parents would read the Thomas the Tank Engine stories to me. And I just wish they had read me stories about banking and insurance. But in all seriousness, Thomas was that little blue locomotive who, with incredible determination, would succeed against the odds. And to me, Traxtion has always represented the locomotive that could. A company who has, for 3.5 decades, due to the determination of its people and a relentless dedication to excellence, achieved against the odds. Roy Puffett started the company with a toolbox. Our first asset was an Isuzu Bucky. Our first office was a caravan. Today, we have more than $100 million of assets. We have a fleet that includes latest generation locomotives and locomotives that are more than 50 years old that still perform every day. We have boots on the ground in 8 countries, a rail school that is TITA and QCTO certified, that has trained more than 700 drivers and more than 75 Red Seal technicians. We are the only ISO 9001-2015 certified operator that we know of on the continent. We have the equivalent of a 5-star safety rating. We run our business under the guidance of 23,000 control documents. The workshop has all the tools and equipment we believe we need and the capacity to service a fleet of more than 300 locomotives. We keep approximately 150 million rand of parts in stock. We are now investing significantly into technology, into maintenance systems, operations systems, train risk mitigation systems, check systems, procurement, people management, and stock systems. But why are we doing this? Well, it's because we believe in the future. We believe in what South Africa and the rest of Africa could still be. We take a great deal of meaning from what we do. Our reliable trains create confidence in our customers. That confidence unlocks investment. Where we employ 50 people, a new mine employs 5,000. Where we invest millions, the upstream economy invests billions. Network industries, which is what we are what make a nation's economy internationally competitive. We are the foundations of the economy, but not the economy itself. The railways only exist because of a productive economy. Drop the mic, who would have thought? 3 years ago, we started the Think Exponential brand campaign, as we felt it was important to start to inspire a belief into the exponential benefits to the upstream economy of rail solutions. We now think it's time to take the next step, as now is the time to implement our solutions. And hence, we are today launching the B Exponential campaign. It's the era of rail reform, and it's time to deliver. On the 25th of March 2022, the SA Cabinet approved a new national rail policy, as you've heard of today. It is perhaps the most important moment in the 160 years that trains have been running in this country. This provides the guidelines under which the reform of the South African rail system should happen. The policy was 14 years in development and clearly thought through. We joke internally, but in many ways we have been preparing for 35 years for rail reform. Unfortunately, however, policy does not and cannot stand alone. Until we have a robust and well-constituted regulator, I fear its implementation will be imbalanced and will be rendered effectively meaningless. But its implementation ultimately, I believe, is inevitable, and it will be profound. Imagine a South African economy where we export 90 million tons of coal, 75 million tons of iron ore, and 15 million tons of manganese, where cars run on rail, growing the efficiency of our biggest manufacturing sector, where reefer containers for our agri-sector run on rail, providing confidence that the export capacity exists into the future for one of the few really bright spots in our economy, where Eskom power stations are rail-fed, meaning Eskom can effectively police the grade of coal it receives. Imagine an economy where our overburdened road networks are not straining under the maintenance impact of trucks, and where lives are not lost as a consequence. Professor Havenga from Stellenbosch tells us it's 5% of GDP. But that's what we know. It's not what never gets invested, because the rail capacity doesn't exist in the first place. With approximately 85% of Africa's rail track in South Africa, we have a rail network that could and should be the backbone of the economy, and an advertisement to investors of why they should put their capital into South Africa. The rest of Africa, through the visionary leadership of people like Bruno Chingedu, the MD of Tazara, have led the way with rail reform. The result of this is more opportunities for Traxtion to run trains. And the investment in the mining industry in Africa means there's more demand for our trains. Today we don't have a single train available for deployment, and we are scrambling to send more capacity across our borders. We are an operator of trains. We don't build track. We don't do signalling. We don't manufacture locomotives or wagons. We don't do specialist service work. We don't do warehousing, ICDs, freight forwarding, or port operations. We definitely don't do trucking. But we do collaborate and build relationships. We are extremely thankful for our trusted suppliers and subcontractors, many of whom are here, that enabled us to succeed in the field. There's incredible efficiency in trust. The rail industry thrives when there are more people on trains and more freight on trains. Right now in South Africa, there's a lot less of both. Your resilience, our suppliers, is incredible. But it takes much more than suppliers to make a business. We love the robust engagement we have with our stakeholders. There are parts of doing business in South Africa that can be frustrating, but there are parts that are wonderful. Our lawyers, our insurer, our funders, our PR company, our branding company, our advisors, and even our safety regulator are outstanding. I love that you are all here. I challenge anyone to find better anywhere in the world. We are only 4 years in Roslyn, but we've engaged with the Roslyn community as best we can. We try and source our apprentice artisans from the community. Our CSI donations are issued to the local school. We've explained our business in detail, so opportunities with us can be well understood, and that's translated into contracts. With Beta, we've even formalized our informal traders outside, with our Boilermakers building them a permanent container structure that gives them protections from the elements. To Temba Kunene and the team that makes all this happen, thank you. Some other thanks. Firstly, to Acting DG Makai Pia. Thank you for your supportive words today and for driving the rail reform agenda. If you get this right, the benefits for the people of South Africa will be significant. Thank you, teacher. We really, really appreciate your support. And I say that not as Traxtion. I say that as everybody that's part of this function today. Secondly, to Principal Capital, who has believed in this business for 14 years now. Brian's commitment to this business is like a fuel that drives us. To Harith for investing in us. So much of what you see here today is directly due to the funds and faith that Harith has placed in us. Sipho, what you do has meaning, and it really does unlock Africa. And then fourthly, to Noni Moketi and the team behind you, Sarah Carmichael in particular, for all the energy you've put in today. It's absolutely brilliant. Thank you. And finally, to the people of Traxtion. 6 years ago, I inherited a culture that was dedicated to quality, a culture inherited from the little train that could. I love the passion we share for this business. The commitment for doing things ethically, to running trains safely, and to being good at what we do. The easy work is done by us in Rosebank. The hard work is done inside this workshop and in the field in the 8 countries where we do what we do. I salute you. I thank you. You are my greatest privilege. So here we find ourselves. We've invested in the capacity. We've invested in the people and the competence. We've spent 35 years in preparation. We have a wonderful business today, but there's so much more we can do. South Africa, when you want us, our suppliers are ready, our customers are ready, our stakeholders are ready, and of course, we are ready.
Traxtion. Be exponential.